The Eyes in the Fog. It began on a night when the fog wasn't just thick, it was an impenetrable, suffocating shroud that swallowed the world whole. Mara, the town librarian known for her steady composure, locked up the ancient library later than usual, her key trembling in her hand as she stepped into the night. The streetlights flickered feebly, their weak halos barely piercing the oppressive mist. Every sound of the town, the distant hum of traffic, the chirp of crickets, had been reduced to a haunting, hollow silence. As Mara hurried down the deserted sidewalk, she first noticed something off. A single pair of glowing eyes, like twin lanterns of malice, piercing through the murk. At first, she hoped it was just a stray animal, but as she pressed on, more eyes appeared, dozens of them, hidden in the darkness, their light reflecting a cold, calculating intelligence. They seemed to move in unnatural patterns, gliding against the direction of the wind, watching her every step with predatory intent. A paralyzing dread took hold when one pair drifted closer, hovering just at the periphery of her vision. The eyes, glowing with an eerie, unnatural luminescence, exuded a malevolence that chilled her blood. The fog itself seemed to pulse and writhe around these sinister orbs, as if it were alive with dark purpose. With every pounding beat of her heart, Mara's steps quickened, her breath ragged as she felt herself being hunted by an unseen force. Reaching her modest home, a small creaking structure that had always felt safe, Mara slammed and bolted the door. She leaned against it, heart hammering in her ears, and peered through the peephole. Outside, the fog had coalesced into a near-solid barrier, and among it stood an impossibly tall, featureless figure. Under a lone, sputtering street lamp, the figure's face was a void of darkness, yet those same glowing eyes burned with a hellish intensity that promised unspeakable terror. Then came the knock, soft, irregular, as if coming from a body not entirely human. The sound wasn't a knock at all, but a subtle scraping, like fingernails dragging along wood, accompanied by an almost imperceptible whisper that slithered through the crack of the door. "We see you." Mara's scream was choked in her throat as the door rattled violently, the sound echoing down the empty street. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she was frozen, trapped in a waking nightmare. The knocking ceased abruptly, replaced by an ominous, pulsating silence that seemed to scream louder than any sound. In that harrowing moment, as her vision blurred and the edges of reality crumbled, the lights in her home flickered and died. The last thing she felt was an icy, unseen hand reaching in, its grip as inescapable as the grip of death itself. The next morning, the town awoke to a bizarre calm. The fog had lifted as if it had never been there, leaving behind only a lingering, malevolent presence that clung to every shadow. Mara was gone, vanished without a trace, as if consumed by the very darkness that had stalked her. Yet on every corner, in every reflective surface, the ghostly glimmer of those eyes served as a permanent reminder. Something unfathomable and merciless was out there, always watching, waiting for its next victim.